Let's begin tonight's show by welcoming in the head coach of your Cougar Hoopsters, Kevin Young. There you go. Another one. Good to see you. All right, I was just saying, you know, those who actually made it to the building tonight deserve a lot of credit. It's our first real snow day we've had here on the show.
I know the four-wheelers and the sleds probably got them here, but good to see some smiling faces up there.
And we got our taste of it in Morgantown Tuesday night. Things got wild there that night.
I was nervous on the bus getting to the airplane, especially going through all the little back roads in the mountains. But
I know it. Yeah, the little airport is about 45 miles south of Morgantown. It took a little longer than 45 minutes to get there. Then once we got there, we're on the plane a long time just to get that thing ready to fly. Yeah,
even my wife was texting me like 3:30 in the morning. Where are you? You said you'd be home. So she was a little worried.
That's the way it goes sometimes. But does the travel, you've been so used to the travel thing for years and years and years, pretty much nothing phases you at this point, right?
Yeah, no, it's a walk in the park compared to the NBA, so I'll take what we got here.
It was the first really extended road trip you had, though. San Diego was multiple games, but kind of compressed and kind of close. But this was Cincy to West Virginia on the road a little kind of a while.
Yeah, we were. I thought it was good, though, in terms of where it fell in the schedule and relative to just where we are as a team. I thought it was good. Bonding moment. We had some activities on the road. Went to church as a group, which was really cool. Did a nice team dinner in Morgantown. Tom and Lori were with us too, which was cool given everything that's transpired there. So it was fun.
Yeah, Tom Holmoe and his wife Lori were on this trip just coincidentally. Yeah. And of course, the news was released while he was on the trip with us that he'd be retiring. And it was nice that you got to celebrate a win with him on that day.
Yeah, it was amazing. Just especially a game like that. Just the way we were able to win it and then having him there in the locker room afterwards was really cool.
The trip began in Cincinnati, and kudos to them. They're surging right now. They were on a bit of a slide. They've now won 3 in a row, scoring the ball better than anybody right now in the league. You caught them on an uptick. They
played great. Got to tip your hat to them. I did a poor job of adjusting to how hot their guards were. They kept just proving it. They were. I know you're a numbers guy like me. I mean, they were 12 of 18 from the most inefficient shots in basketball, and they just kept making them and making them. On the year, I think they were shooting 28% from those same floor spots. So kudos to them, but proud of our guys for, locking in. We had a great practice in the arena there at West Virginia and carried it over into the game, which was huge.
And resilience has kind of been a hallmark already of your first team, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, this group's really responded. We've had very, very few poor days since I've been here, and it's a credit to the guys we have, our leadership group. Dallin really leads the charge with Trevin and Richie. And so we haven't had a lot of bad days. And even when things haven't gone our way, we just kind of try to find solutions. That's kind of been the mentality. And we did that, and there was some direct carryover of things that we worked on in practice that really showed their head in key moments of that West Virginia game. So as a coach, that's extremely rewarding.
We got to spend Sunday, Monday, Tuesday in Morgantown. You've done a lot of traveling in your basketball life. But Morgantown, was that a new one for you?
Morgantown was I have been to the state, but Morgantown was my first time. I think the highlight for me was just seeing, there's some iconic basketball people with ties there. Hot Rod Hundley, who did the Jazz radio for years. I had a chance to interact with him when when I was around here years ago. Rod Thorne, who I bumped shoulders with several times in different NBA deals, and then obviously the main man, the logo himself, Jerry West, who I had a chance to meet a couple of times as well. So I actually snuck out of the side door after shoot around, took a picture of the Jerry West statue just as a hoop head myself. To see that firsthand was cool.
And what a unique venue too. The cavernous concrete dome, it's massive in there, isn't it?
It's huge. We go on the road, and obviously we here at BYU, we're lucky. Marriott Center is incredible, and clearly, we talk about it with recruits all the time. And now I have an even more of appreciation for the Marriott Center after now seeing a lot of the Big 12 venues. But Morgantown was definitely, second to ours in terms of just the sheer size and scope of it.
Very cool. And the importance, I guess, of the road split becomes really big, too. After you take what happens in Cincy, you've got to somehow find a way to come home with something, and you did.
We did. It was huge. It was a massive game. We needed that split. We needed it almost worked out better, if a split was inevitable to get the one at West Virginia. just on paper, a little bit more of a tougher opponent than Cincy.
Yeah.
So to be able to get that one, to beef up the resume and do it in the fashion that we did, more importantly, in terms of building our own confidence internally, I thought was a big step.
So they're a team that's more or less penciled into the bracket, and to beat that team on its home floor has some value.
Yeah, it was big, and for that reason, and like I said, just internally to get it done the way we did was huge.
Well, since we last met here in Studio C, yes, BYU did play 2 games at Cincinnati on Saturday, followed by that trip to Morgantown to play in WVU Coliseum for a second consecutive year. Let's look back now at some stats and highlights from the BYU WVU game presented by Intermountain Health, official medical provider of BYU athletics. We're going to highlight some guys who played well in this one. Yegor, game high 16 for you, double-figure scoring now in 5 of 6. He has a huge three-point play late and a huge late shot clock three-pointer late. Great day for Yags.
It was. I love the way he's adjusting to these teams pressuring him. He's finding ways to get to the basket. He's putting his head down a little bit more and driving that basketball, which I think is really taking pressure off of us on the perimeter, and that's something that we've been talking about quite a bit. So, and obviously, that three was huge. But also his free throws that he made down the stretch.
Yeah.
After him struggling a little bit from the line, those were huge plays.
Made 3 of 4 freebies on the night. Trey Stewart, good weekend for him, really, between Cincy and West Virginia. Saw more time, I think, in both games. And on Tuesday, he goes 3 of 3 from the field, makes both of his threes. He scores 8 points in just over 6 minutes. You combine the 2 games, he plays 15 plus, and just really solid for you when you ask for him.
Yeah, no, Trey's great, man. I got a great relationship with him. I've talked to him a lot about, just staying ready, and he's had a great attitude in practice. But, he made shots, but he came in and executed defensively extremely well, which was a huge part of getting that win. He
said in our post-game radio that your player development director, Jordan Brady, JB, tells him your job isn't just to play basketball, it's to be ready to play basketball, if that makes sense.
It is, yeah. And that's Jordan's pro side coming out. That's a big thing in the NBA where, you got all these young guys that are sitting behind these superstars, and that's kind of the mantra in the league, and Jordan runs a lot of our Stay Ready group runs and workouts and so forth, and, Trey's been and Mihailo, too, and a few other guys have done just that. They've stayed ready.
Yeah, speaking of Mihailo, a guy that wasn't playing a ton of minutes heading into the weekend, but he plays 18 minutes over the 2 away games. And in Morgantown, helped to finish the deal for you, really. But over the 2 games, he scores 14, 6 points in Morgantown. Did all of his scoring in the second half. The big 3 to give you the lead, and then the 3-point play that basically seals the deal in this one off the short roll, and he dives, and what a big finish.
Yeah, his just skill level is gives us a different look at the 5 spot. He's a guy, early on he was playing a lot at the 4 early in the season. And as seasons go, things change. There's ebbs and flows. We've been trying to find ways as a staff to get him on the floor more. He just gives us a different look at the 5, where he can pick and pop. It spreads the floor. It gives those guards much easier outlets. And that last play, his just being that nimble to be able to get down the lane and then to seal it with that, to put it up to a 2-possession game was huge.
It's matchup dependent a lot of times too, but is he earning himself more minutes in your trust down the stretch here by the way he's playing?
He is, yeah. Not just me, I think, his teammates as well. But again, people are trying to be super physical at the point of attack with us, with our ball handler. So having a skilled big out there, I learned that after something Chris Paul taught me in the NBA was, pick and roll, but he's like, man, KY, sometimes I just want to throw it back. I don't want to always have to throw it in the interior. I just want to be able to throw it back to a big who pops sometimes, especially against pressure. And I think you see that with Mihailo. He not even necessarily shoot it, but just release it, play the second side of the floor. So he gives us a lot of different versatility, on the offensive end. And even defensively, he can switch and do some different things as well.
Our final clip we want to show from West Virginia, he didn't have to have a huge scoring night in this game to play well for you. He played a game-high 36 minutes. In fact, no one on the BYU team played, I think, more than 24, except for Richie's 36. He ends up going 4 for 5 inside the arc, adds 4 rebounds to his 9 points, 3 assists. Richie having an impact.
Yeah, he's a guy that we've been able to count on at a high level all throughout the year. He did a good job defensively as well. There was a lot of specific things we were doing game plan wise, but even without the scoring, we showed guys clips today. Trevin and Richie shooting. There's a term in basketball. They're just the gravity of having shooting out there. They literally were face guarding Trevin and Richie in the corners And so it's just opening up driving
Creates
lanes.
opportunities.
Yeah, it does, and our guys were able to take advantage of it. I mean, when you put multiple 40% three-point shooters out there, it puts a lot of stress on the defense.
And we have to note that more than the individual work Mawut did, and he did a tremendous job primarily on Javon Small, it was going to be more than just Mawut helping to shut down Javon. And you become only the second team to keep Javon Small under 10 points in a game. Houston was the other, and we know how good Houston is defensively. What was the key to what you did against the guy you're going to see one more time in the season?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of credit to our coaching staff in terms of just studying how we could slow him down. That was probably one of the things one opponent we studied, individual player, we studied more than anyone, just given how prolific he is. I mean, we talked about it pregame. You know, he's responsible for like 70% of their offense or something like that. So that is the game plan. But it was attention to detail. You know, it was consistently executing. And I told the guys this morning, you know, I've been a part of a lot of game plans to try to slow down a lot of really good players, and that was one of the most impressive executed game plans that I've ever seen. I mean, to hold him to 4 field goal attempts was just incredible.
Yeah, season low attempts in 4 and season low makes in 2, and you did give Mawut a lot of work to do on Tuesday night, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's when he's at his best. I mean, you saw with Edgecombe earlier in the year, even though he had a good individual performance, but you know, Mawut's ability to, you know, deny guys the ball, to be able to force guys one way or the other, to fight through screens, to gap screens, to get back in front. I mean, he's really special in that sense. And then to have the trust behind him, you know, we found something with him and Richie being able to do certain things defensively when the two of them are involved in actions. And so, you know, I think that's where the experience is really showing.
All right, final stat sheet from Morgantown. The Cougs win this one 73-69. The rebounding number jumps out, a double-digit edge there, and the bench, which has been so good for you this year, was dominant at West Virginia.
Yeah, it was, and you know, I thought that was our most complete team win of the year. You know, having so many different guys contribute. I think that kind of is a unique thing with this team relative to not just the Big 12, but just college basketball in general. You know, we're able to throw out, you know, a lot of guys who can help. It makes it harder on me, honestly, to figure out who that guy or guys are on a given night. But, you know, again, credit to, you know, people like Jordan Brady, John Linehan, all of our grad assistants who helped those guys stay ready to come in and contribute. We
didn't highlight them, but on that note, Cannon Catching scores 11 for you. A couple of really big makes. And BYU's now 7-1 this year when he just gets double figures. Doesn't need to be a big night, but if he has a good night, it's usually a good sign for you.
It is. I mean, he bailed us out in that game in some moments where we just couldn't get it and couldn't get any good shots or couldn't score, and he gets fouled on 2 3-point attempts. And you know,
was he 5 of 6 from the free throw line that night?
Yep, he was. But just trying to get him. I mean, the biggest thing with Cannon is just he has to stay aggressive. You know, he's passive at times, and you know it's hard to score obviously when you're not looking to shoot it. But you know, he's such a threat with his size. I tell him all the time, like, you're either going to make it or miss it. They're not blocking your shot. You're 6'9". It's a lot like Kevin Durant. I show him clips of KD all the time. And me and Monty Williams used to joke about that with Kev. It's like, Kev's either going to make it or miss it. That's it. You're not going to do anything to stop it. And so I try to get that going with Cannon, and the nights where he does it, you know, he's really effective.
All right, let's check the team sheet now. And BYU pretty much in the mix where it was last week. Not a lot of movement, which is good for BYU because the Cougs are already in a pretty good spot. Again, that team sheet looks solid. The resume metrics are going to come up as we head down the stretch. Some great Q1 opportunities. But the predictive metrics, the ones that show how you play, those are really high right now.
Yeah, and you know, again, I'm still learning all the metrics. All I know it was a huge win on the road, you know, to beat a tournament, you know, caliber team. It's something we can build on. We know we still have, you know, work that we got to continue to do, you know, with the big, like you said, hottest team in the league coming up here in Kansas State. So we're just hoping that we can, you know, build off that one and go take care of the next one.
Okay, 4 weeks from now, the conference tournament's going to be underway in Kansas City. Let's take a look at the standings and how they're shaping up right now as we do head down the stretch. BYU stays in the top tier, but suddenly a team joining BYU at 7-6 is Kansas State. Wasn't too long ago, Coach. They were 1-6 in league. They've ripped off 6 straight wins to join you in a tie for 6th. Yeah,
I mean, credit to their staff. I mean, to be down, you know, 1-6 in the league and to have that big of a turnaround, that's pretty remarkable. It's, you know, in studying their team, it's a testament to shot making. I mean, their three-point shooting in that stretch has been, you know, much better than it was early on. But then they found some confidence. They got multiple guys playing well. And, we look forward to that challenge.
All right, I mentioned quad one opportunities down the stretch. Let's take a look at BYU's final remaining games. 7 games left on the Big 12 slate, and 4 of them will be quad one. And it's the Sunflower State duo coming through town this weekend with K-State on Saturday, followed by Kansas next Tuesday. Again, great opportunities down the stretch to make some noise and help your resume.
I learn something from you every week. The Sunflower State.
That's it.
That's good knowledge by you. But yeah, no, we got some good opportunities coming up. This place will be rocking for sure, for that game. And then obviously, the Kansas game before we get out on the road. But I mean, again, testament to this league. Every time you go play, you got a chance to play a good opponent, which is, helps us build up that resume.
Yeah, no soft spots whatsoever.